sinful. I think Jackson gave us some bad info. I think he told me that they don't have banana pudding anymore, and they do. Well, they do, because I asked the lady at Burgers Blues Barbecue in Dogwood, Flowwood, if she did, and she said, yeah, we have banana pudding. And I think you made that up or something. I don't know what the hell you were talking about. Anyway, we are the Out of Bounds Show, 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. Our next interview is brought to you by the Rogue Men's Store, Martin Dingham Shoes, Peter Millar Gear, Jack Victor Sport Coats, all kinds of good-looking suits for graduation and wedding season, which I just went to a wedding in New Orleans. That's all at the Rogue Men's Store. Don't forget that Spring Street Cigars is now open in the Rogue building. Full bar, 3 floors, unbelievable humidor. Spring Street Cigars is open in the Rogue building on I-55 North Frontage Road, 4450 I-55 North Frontage Road. We welcome in Andrew Gipson, the head baseball coach for Bellhaven. They punched their ticket to the postseason. And Andrew, I just want you to know that I am the greatest living bat boy from Bellhaven baseball to ever be a bat boy there, and I just wanted to let you know that under Coach McLeod.
That's awesome, man. You were hanging around during the golden years of Bellhaven athletics. I mean, Coach Rugg and Coach McLeod, both Hall of Famers, and obviously both have fields named after them. So, it's that's awesome, man.
Well, they were both. To say that they were good to me is an understatement. And just wonderful people for a kid to be around. And I think I did 9,000 things for them and did it, and thought I actually thought I was a part of the program, Andrew, and like they couldn't do it without me. But clean stuff, got gear for them, concession, whatever they needed. So, and grew up on Pinehurst right across the street. So anyway, congratulations to you and your team. It's a long road. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And so how gratifying was it yesterday to hear your name called for the postseason?
Super gratifying, man. I actually got emotional during the interview with WLBT, and didn't mean to. This is something that is super special to me. I played here from 2007 to 2011, and then Coach Denson kept me on here as an assistant coach. And I actually left here and after 3 years of that in 2014 and went to southeastern Louisiana, for almost a decade. And when we got back, this program wasn't in very good shape, if I'm being honest. And so it's been fun to get it back on its feet.
So it's been a lot of hard work. You've been under some good ones, man. Coach Denson and others. And I know how much it means to you to play there, and now punch your ticket. What is the strength for the Bellhaven Blazers this year?
It's a combination, Bo, and honestly, something that we really tried to rally around recruiting was just being multiple. If the wind's blowing in 30 miles an hour, we can beat you with the run game. If it's blowing out, we've got power to do that. Year over year, we've raised the batting average 40 or 50 points. We're pitching it at a 3.8, which is half a run better than where we were last year. And I tell you, the thing that's really come on for us is the defensive side of the ball. We made some moves about halfway through the year. We've got 4 shortstops playing the infield, which is always a good thing. We're rangy and long. So we've really played defense well the last probably month or so. We're multiple. Excited about that. With the way we recruit is up the middle of the field. I want a bunch of catchers, a bunch of shortstops, and a bunch of out center fielders. And then, everybody kind of moves out from there. And, your true shortstop stay and your true center fielders stay. And then everybody else sort of trickles their way towards the foul line.
I like that. All right. So we're visiting with Andrew Gipson. He played at Bellhaven, and now he's the head baseball coach, and they're going to the postseason. So a lot of excitement here. And the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone, brought to you by the Peter Millar Gear at the Rogue Men's Store in Jackson. All right, so where are y'all headed? Tell me what's happening.
We're going to St. Louis. So Webster is a team that's they're in the suburb of St. Louis, but we're actually playing the regional at SIU Edwardsville. So Webster's similar to us. They share a stadium with the Frontier League team, and that team just so happens to be in town. And you know, I'm not big on geography. I missed that in 8th grade, but Edwardsville is just to the east of St. Louis.
Okay.
It's actually in Illinois. So, you know, all turf field, beautiful facility. Super excited about heading up there.
Dude, that's baseball country up there. Jack Buck,
No doubt.
Harry Carey,
Yep.
Whitey Herzog, Ozzie
That's
Smith.
it.
Let's go. All right. So Bellhaven will be when do y'all play?
We play Friday at 2:30 against Rhodes, who is out of Memphis.
Yeah, I know. I'm familiar with Rhodes. Been on their campus before. Okay, so do y'all leave on Thursday?
We are. We're going to head up Thursday, and then we've got a practice session at SIUE at about 3:00. So we'll pull out of here between 6:30 and 7 on Thursday morning and make the haul up there.
Do you feel like you've got a team that can do some things in the postseason?
I do. You know, we've got pitching depth, which is always key. You know, and then like I said, we're athletic and multiple enough that, you know, we can kind of play the conditions. We've got a good mixture of right-handed and left-handed. So, you know, if there's some matchup stuff that we need to take advantage of, we can. You know, I told the folks yesterday, like, the lady asked me what was one word to describe this team. I just said authentic. I know it's a unique word to talk about with a baseball team, but, you know, they just take hard coaching well. You know, they can look themselves in the mirror and go, okay, here's what needs to be addressed. And, you know, we lost the game one of the Cowboy Maloney series. I guess it's been about 6 weeks ago now, and I brought my captains together, and I'm just like, y'all don't want what I want out of this. You know, and they kind of looked around like, what are we going to do about it? You know, and then we started writing the phrase, kick the door down on the top of every lineup card. And, you know, it was just kind of a mantra that, you know, they're not going to let you in the national tournament if you knock softly. You know, and obviously the way we got in was special because, you know, we get to the championship game of the conference tournament and we scored 2 runs over the final 18 innings. So we didn't earn the automatic bid. You know, and you finish 19th in the country in the NPI, which is the ranking system at the Division III level. You know, you're the top 5% of all Division III baseball programs. So, you know, super proud of their response. I think they certainly kicked the door down, and, you know, now it's time to make ourselves at home.
Let's go. Postseason play for the Bellhaven Blazers. He is Andrew Gipson, alum, and now the head baseball coach there. Right there on Peachtree and Pinehurst. Congratulations, my man. I know it's been a lot of hard work. I know the budget's tight every year. I know y'all have to do a bunch of different things to make it happen. And I wish you the best. And I hope you win a bunch of games in the postseason. And we appreciate your time today, Andrew.
Thanks, Bo. Appreciate you, man.
Andrew Gipson, head baseball coach for the Bellhaven Blazers. And they will be playing in the postseason against Rhodes up in the St. Louis area Friday at 2:30. And congratulations to Andrew, who played there and now has come back as the head coach and driven this program to the regionals and the postseason. We're live in the Bank Plus studio. Detillier next. Oh, man. I think Mike Detillier may have Derek Carr fatigue. But actually, Mike was the first. So I woke up and Mike's tweet, you know how your algorithms are, people that you follow. And that's how I found out that Derek Carr was retiring. I flipped up my I guess it was on Saturday morning. I think I was in New Orleans, but anyway, I can't remember over the weekend. And Mike had tweeted out, that they were doing the divorce thing. I think it worked out for both parties, but we're going to get our Saints NFL insiders' thoughts. Mike Detillier, WWL Radio TV New Orleans. Mike D joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line, and the show is brought to you by your next video wall at your high school, university, law firm, business, and that's powered by Sound and Communications, soundcomav.com for your next video wall for your business or school. Mike D on the show. Mike, was this a win for both parties now that they were able to kind of negotiate this thing down and figure it out and get the divorce finalized?
Yeah, I think it was a bigger win for the Saints because, to be honest, Bo, the guy I co-host with, there ain't no way he walking away from $30 million. Yeah, I can guarantee you that. Or any other NFL player that you left that on the table. So Derek Carr did him a solid, so to speak, in the fact that, you were able to negotiate this deal. He didn't want to be here. That was obvious. And I think there was a strong measure of the Saints fan base that had so much disdain for him. He is the most polarizing Saints player I've covered in 40 years here. The most. Some people bring up Aaron Brooks, but I mean, Aaron won a playoff game. He won some signature games for the Saints. I can't really say that about Derek. He had a 14-win, 13-loss record as a starter for the Saints, but there was not that signature win against a really good team. No playoffs, and he was tied to Dennis Allen, another super polarizing guy here. And it had just gone bad all across the board. And the most telling thing, I'd heard this from somebody working with the Saints, that there had never been a face-to-face between Kellen Moore and Derek Carr. And at first, because I had read it, a few people had wrote it, that there had been, but I trusted this individual that he said there had never been that way. Saturday, when asked, Kellen Moore said, "We never met face-to-face."
Wow.
So you mean to tell me the projected starting quarterback for the Saints and the new head coach had never met face-to-face? That to me is strange. And the whole off season of events of Carr not being here during Super Bowl week, him moving his family out west, the non-meeting between him and Kellen Moore, and Kellen explained it like, well, we just never kind of crossed paths, and we were doing a lot of, individual workouts type things from school to school. Man, I can remember Dennis Allen, after he took the job, he takes a plane flight to California to meet Michael Thomas. And how we knew about it at WWL before anybody else, who was on that flight from New Orleans to California? Bobby Hebert's daughter. And so Coach is telling us the story that, he said, I could see this woman. She kind of glanced at me a few times, and then finally we got off the plane. She was like, "Are you Dennis Allen?" He was like, "Yeah." He said, "Oh, my dad's Bobby Hebert." And so he had went to California to meet Michael Thomas. He did. So my thing, when you don't have the head coach and the quarterback meet, that tells you a lot. Tells you a heck of a lot where this situation went. And I think it's a clean slate. The door is wide open now. All Tyler Shuck got to do is walk through it. and I think he's the guy for week one, barring any sort of injury. The one thing, though, Bo, they got to take a look at, and, all this stuff sort of happened pretty quickly. But when you have a quarterback room of a rookie quarterback and a second-year quarterback in Spencer Rattler and a third-year quarterback in Jake Haener, I think you got to go out and take a look and see if you can't bring in a veteran quarterback that would fit that backup role, sort of a mentor, a guy that in that film room and when they come off the sidelines can talk to your starting quarterback, because that is needed in the NFL. Just think about a lot of people, let's just go with the kids. You know what? You fell in the rabbit hole last year, didn't you? The same geniuses that tell you don't bring in the veteran. When Derek Carr went down, you had to play Spencer Rattler and Jake Haener. They were, why didn't we have a veteran quarterback? The same people that's screaming off the rooftops about that today would be screaming about it today if Tyler Shuck got hurt in week 3. You got to be smart enough to understand that that is a unique position to play quarterback in the NFL as a starter. It's unique. And you need some help, early on in your career. I don't care how many of your assistant coaches played quarterback and your head coach played quarterback, to have that guy that's in those film rooms, in those practice sessions that can sort of help you get better as a player. And it's sort of the same reasoning or kind of craziness of, we tank in the season anyway. Well, guess whose resume that's on? Kellen Moore, not on yours. Would you want to tank, your first year wherever you went and have that on your resume? The answer is no. He don't want that. They hired him to win games. That's what the NFL is about. It's a bottom line business. And there are holes on this football team all across the board. But I think the sort of divorce was good for both sides. Derek's made $119.5 million playing in the NFL. But I don't know of another NFL player that would walk away from $30 million. There is a chapter in this book that has not quite been written. And he's going to play again, right? Devil in the details. We'll find all that out. But it's over with now. You move on. And this is Tyler Shuck's football team.
Okay, so Mike Detillier, Saints Insider, on the Out of Bounds show and the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Derek Carr and the Saints. The divorce is done. Very much worked out for the Saints. And as Mike said, Derek's already made a fortune. Didn't want to play there. Do you expect Derek Carr to play again, Mike D?
I think the telltale sign of that would be when he has surgery. We had to do a special Saturday, so I had on Dr. David Elias from Ortho LA. Dr. Elias has done a lot of surgeries on Major League Baseball pitchers, tennis players, swimmers, quarterbacks, and his comments was, if it is what is being presented, because he was not the one that Derek Carr went to, he said, there's a strong possibility, even if surgery is had, you might not be able to come back from it. It's one of these type surgeries, over-the-top deliveries, which is how he puts it, that a lot of times your shoulder gets sort of displaced. And that's an issue. And I think this is a lingering issue from his days also with the Raiders, where it wasn't as bad and it just grew worse. This was about 2 months ago. Mike Mayock, on a podcast with his daughter, made the comment that Derek had an AC joint shoulder injury in Las Vegas and had not had surgery on it. So, I don't really know if he plays or doesn't play, but really I think at this point doesn't matter. I think for Saints fans, hey, it's over with. I think for Kellen Moore, he's not his guy, and you move on. And the only lingering effect of this is because, and we've talked about this on the show a few times, you went to the bank of Derek Carr not once but twice for money. And next year, you will have a $35.5 million dead money hit with Derek Carr. So for 2026,
and that's on the front office.
He's still on the books for $35.5 million.
Damn. Okay. All right. So it's for our listeners, Tyler Shuck is out of Louisville, and he was a second-round pick for the Saints. Mike D. Let's see. This will be Tyler Shuck and Spencer Rattler. Do you still believe, Mike D., that sometime this summer they'll pick up a veteran?
Yes, I do. I think it will not be, because you got everybody's got this thing about Kirk Cousins or Aaron Rodgers. It's not going to be anybody like that, but it'll be a veteran quarterback that has started in the NFL somewhere. Now the pickings are sort of slim at that position. Where could it be a guy like Teddy Bridgewater? Because Teddy really had retired from the game, went coach out in Florida, won a state championship. After the season was over with, Teddy wants to actually make a few, dollars he can count. So he signs with the Lions. He actually played in the final playoff game with Detroit when Jared Goff got hit high, and they kept him on the sidelines for a series. So it would be somebody of that ilk that's not going to cost you a lot of money at this stage of the game. And this team still has holes in it. And I keep repeating this. I have a friend of mine who, him and I, we do some investing together. He's got a certain term for people who make the same mistake over and over and over and over again. I'm not going to repeat it because you'd have to censor me. But, but you think about the cornerback position, and I think this team does have interest in Asante Samuel Jr. Now, he's coming off a neck injury, so I'd have to get medical approval on that. I still think they need help at wide receiver. Offensive line help is always going to be there, and it's a space where you get a lot of people hurt throughout the season, and even a pass rush guy. You still have holes on this football team. So, and along with the quarterback position, a veteran. So, yes, to answer your question, I do see them going out getting a veteran quarterback who can just sort of calm the room of a lot of young guys. And it is such a difficult spot when you're a starting quarterback as a rookie, no matter what your age is. And I think we've grown almost accustomed to why everybody's not like C.J. Stroud, why everybody's not like Jaden Daniels. Those two guys are anomalies in this league. And I'll never forget, every year it's the same speech, and I could tell you. Peyton Manning at the Manning Passing Academy talks to the group of kids that are there along with the counselors. And he said, he always tells the counselors, I got one thing to tell you, and I'm asking every year. One of y'all guys got to beat me out of that rookie interception record. Peyton Manning, his first year, threw more interceptions than any other rookie quarterback in the history of the National Football League. And that grates him today. Still today, as great as Peyton Manning was in his career, that he struggled with it. Think about, was anybody more prepared for the NFL than Peyton Manning? And yet he struggled. So to see what we've seen back-to-back years, I've done this 40 years. I've never seen it back-to-back years. I've seen a guy do it, and then it's a couple, 3 or 4 more years, and then a guy comes in, and he makes a big impact. But to see it back-to-back years, that's an anomaly in this league to have that happen. So it's a difficult journey, no matter how prepared you are, to be a starting quarterback at the NFL level.
Big time. All right. Mike Detillier, Saints Insider on the Out of Bounds Show, brought to you by your next video wall from Sound and Communications. Derek Carr's out. Tyler Shuck's in. Would you be, Mike, like shocked if Spencer Rattler beats out Tyler Shuck in camp in August?
Yes. I'd be shocked.
Okay.
I just think that Tyler's the guy. You didn't pick him where you picked him for Spencer if you felt Spencer Rattler was a better player.
Okay.
You could have used that position, to pick somebody else.
Sure.
But I think you felt you needed to bring in a guy that could be a starter and a guy that was mature, could handle a team physically. I mean, you look at Tyler. I mean, he's a big dude, and he can sling it. What he doesn't have is a lot of football starting snaps under his belt. And that having to do certainly with injuries. And, the injuries aren't these soft tissue injuries. They're broken bones twice. And so, I would be surprised, really, really surprised, if in a head-to-head healthy competition, both are healthy, that Rattler beats out Tyler.
For our listeners, Tyler Shuck redshirted at Oregon, then didn't really play in 2019. 2020, he became the starter, had a solid year, 1,600 yards, 13 TDs, goes to the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Back and forth, as Mike D said, as far as injury and playing, and then transferred to Louisville and started all 12 games this past year and had a good year. So we'll see how that looks for for Kellen Moore and the Saints. Mike, do you believe that the Saints can do enough, have done enough, and can do enough the next couple of months to put themselves in position to compete for the NFC South against Tampa Bay and possibly Atlanta?
No. I think this is sort of a reset year. I think the stability at quarterback for Tampa gives them a huge advantage. I think about the last 36 months. And what's the biggest acquisition in the NFC South? It was signing Baker Mayfield and developing his skills. It's been the overriding factor why they have won back-to-back NFC South championships. And I think if you put the Bucs front office on a lie detector machine, they would blow the circuits if they told you we knew all this was going to happen. I think they took a chance on Baker and hoped it would work out because they were in a soft reset, similar to the Saints. They went a reset because they had pushed all the chips in with Brady, because it wasn't just Brady's money. It was the money you spent on Rob Gronkowski, on Leonard Fournette, on Ndamukong Suh, Jason Pierre-Paul. They really did throw a lot of that in the middle of the table and said, we're going to try to win. And they did win a Super Bowl with it. And Brady got them into the playoffs the other years. But it's really been surprising, the journey of Baker Mayfield. They'll do a 90-minute deal on that, because here was a guy who ends up being the first overall pick in the draft, and yet look at his journey, how uneven it was all across the board with Cleveland, and he does get him into the playoffs, and then it kind of falls apart there. Carolina, Jets, the Rams on a Thursday night game. They bring him in on a Tuesday. He has one day to prepare, and how good he looked. And I'll never forget Sean McVay's comments after the game was that, hey, it's Baker being Baker. It was, he was kind of jumbling a couple different plays that we didn't have, but the guys understood it. And I didn't want to clutter his mind, and his mind had a lot to clutter anyway. And he laughed about it. He kind of was kind of picking a little bit at Baker, saying, hey, man, he's talented, is just to get to him. And I think what happened there, he was fortunate. Dave Canales, who's now the head coach with the Panthers, was really good for him in Tampa and sort of settled him down. Isn't he the difference in the NFC South? They have a rebuilt offensive line, which looks really good today. They've certainly done well in bringing in a Bucky Irving at running back. Then the draft falls from they get a Buka, as a receiver to team up with Evans, and their defense has always played pretty well. That's one thing with Todd Bowles, his defenses are going to play well, and they've used a lot of resources of early round picks on the defensive side of football, and they've been able to win it 4 straight years. You got to give them full credit. You can say, well, it's a weak division. Well, if it's so weak, how come the other teams didn't win it?
Right.
How come Atlanta didn't win it?
Right.
How come the Saints didn't win it? How come Carolina didn't win it? No, the Panthers had some opportunities. The Saints had opportunities. Falcons certainly had opportunities. But you got to give that one maneuver has really changed the NFC South more than any other over the last couple of years.
They have the best GM in the division. Jason's done a good job.
Sharp. I remember when he was an area scout, we sort of met a few times and had some conversations. And the one thing with him, and he is right about this, if somebody, he is very big on how much you love the game, how football smart you are. It's not about if you can split the atom or, you take a case to court. It's about football smarts. And if you're a jerk or you got issues, then I don't want to deal with you. It's distractions for me. It's distractions from my head coach. He has held true to that. A lot of people, Bo, they kind of go a little left and right because they love the player, and then you forget about there was some issues. And everybody's got some faults. But you got to love the game, and you can't be a distraction to the head coach and the organization.
No.
They've been able to do that very well in Tampa and bringing in people that, their focus is on football. Now, they did sign Baker Mayfield.
Boom. Mike D, thank you so much. We'll talk next week. We appreciate you. Mike D on the Out of Bounds Show, brought to you by Sound and Communications for your next video wall for your business or school. SoundComAV.com.
say, kids, what time is it?
It's 9 a.m. and this ain't okay show. It's the Out of Bounds Show with Bo Bounds.
On aboard!
As Mississippi's #1 morning show rolls on the Zone 105.9 and online at thezone1059.com.
This show is flying by. Good morning. Welcome in. All right, the rain's out. Let's give away another round of golf or two to Dancing Rabbit Golf Club. I'd like to know a couple of different things. All right, we're live in the Bank Plus studio. We are the Out of Bounds show. I'm your host, Bo Bounds. This is 105.9 The Zone ESPN. All of our segments, interviews, and hours are uploaded on Spotify and Apple Podcast. Search Out of Bounds with Bo Bounds. For example, Justin Parker joined us yesterday. That's on Spotify and Apple Podcast. Steve Robertson and I mixed it up on the Coaching Search. That's on Apple Podcast and Spotify. Jeff Duncan, NOLA.com, talked about Derek Carr, and that's on Spotify and Apple Podcast. Search Out of Bounds with Bo Bounds. We would love for you to subscribe to the podcast. Jackson and our producers over the years have invested hundreds of hours into the podcast, uploading it, stripping it up, ripping it up, delivering it to you so that when you go into meetings and you're traveling and so on, you can come back and you can go to Spotify or Apple Podcast and search Out of Bounds with Bo Bounds. I want to give away 2 rounds of golf to Dancing Rabbit Golf Club. Here's how you enter. And let's throw in, because I found a bunch of them I forgot I had. Let's throw in a gift card to Burgers Blues Barbecue for lunch, $25. You can go get a Dirty Bird wrap, a blue plate. I had the fried chicken yesterday at Dogwood B3. It was insane. And y'all give me a hard time about the way I eat. I was starving for whatever reason. So I had, and I don't usually smash a blue plate at lunch, but I had the fried chicken, which was cooked perfectly.
Can't believe that.
At B3, Burgers Blues Barbecue in Dogwood. And I had their mac and cheese and green beans. And I hated it. Now, she asked if I wanted roll or cornbread, and I said neither.
Oh.
But the fried chicken, the mac and cheese, and the green beans at B3, Burgers Blues Barbecue in Dogwood, was amazing. I was about to get the smash burger, and one of the waitresses had a plate, and she walked by with the fried chicken to drop it at another table. And I went, that looks magnificent. And so I've been eating, and will continue to.
I can't believe it.
I've been eating a lot of red meat.
Yeah.
'Cause I eat red meat, 5-6 days a week, nights a week. But I just felt the fried chicken.
I can't believe this.
Mac and cheese and green beans.
Can't believe it.
It was hammer time at Burgers Blues Barbecue, Dogwood, Flowwood. Also ran into Jay, who runs the food truck, and they had their food. They have 2 of them. They had their food truck there. They're feeding 1,900 people tomorrow. B3 catering. Now, I told y'all, they made us crab cakes, Wagyu burger, and bourbon glazed bread pudding the last time they cooked for 40 of us out at my clubhouse at my neighborhood. And it was fabulous. I mean, I'd put that crab cake up against a Chafalaya in New Orleans. I mean, I'd put that crab cake that B3, because they'll do any menu, they'll customize it. It's not just what they serve, which is wonderful, lunch and dinner. But I would put that crab cake up against a Chafalaya on Louisiana Avenue off Magazine in New Orleans.
High praise.
How about that?
High praise.
Now, how do you enter to win 2 rounds of golf to Dancing Rabbit Golf Club, where that clubhouse, do they have a good burger or what? It's amazing. Their breakfast sandwiches at Dancing, so they have that little warmer Their breakfast sandwiches are insane at Dancing Rabbit Golf Club. They have Steve Azar's Bloody Mary mix. I don't have to be me till Monday. Was one of his hits. So when you order a Tito's Vodka Bloody Mary, you get I don't have to be me till Monday Bloody Mary mix. But here's how you enter. I want to know, are you streaming the show or listening on ESPN 105.9 The Zone? Where are you listening from? And who do you want to be the next baseball coach at MSU? So it's either give me a name or, Bo, I don't care, talk SEC football.
Okay.
So give me a name of Link Jarrett at Florida State, Butch Thompson, who's not leaving at Auburn,
No.
Brian O'Connor, who I just read an article about him.
Ain't going nowhere.
I mean, it talked about his dad, his family, all the different things they have up there in Charlottesville.
Ain't going nowhere.
Bakich, you missed him. You needed to get the timing needed to be him at Michigan, not at Clemson, because Clemson's a Southern school that likes baseball. O'Sullivan, I think he wants out of Gainesville, but I don't know. I'd probably try to money whip O'Sullivan. The strong rumors of, I don't think they're going to have to go there because they're not going to get a guy of this magnitude. Not that the guy they're going to get can't win a national title, but O'Sully, you would offer $2 million. The strong rumors are they're willing to go to $2 million a year, which doesn't surprise me, and that they've got committed from the Houston group and others over $3 million to put in the roster. Texas only has 4, so you can win a natty with 3+ in baseball. Okay. But you can tell us, are you streaming or listening on ESPN 105.9 The Zone? Where are you listening from? Meridian, New Orleans, DeSoto County. Who do you want to be the next baseball coach for Mississippi State? That's how you enter. You could win 2 rounds of golf to Dancing Rabbit Golf Club and a gift certificate to Burgers Blues Barbecue, and I'll throw in a gift certificate to Mom and M's, which is on site in the Golden Moon, which has some of the best damn fried chicken and best damn wings and black-eyed peas I've ever had in my life. And it's a whiskey craft beer bar. I highly recommend sitting up front. They've got both tables and then, of course, chairs at the bar. It's really cool. It's right on the casino floor, so you can walk off playing. A slot machine's 15 feet away. Right. You can walk right off the floor of playing blackjack or slots, grab you some Mom and M's and a nice cold beer, and then go back. But that's the giveaway. You can enter on the text line 601-885-3776. 601-885-3776. Some of y'all like the fact I needed to come up with another word other than alpha, which is what Mississippi State needs as a baseball coach. And I'm talking about a madman like Cohen, Sully, Vitello, Schlossnagel, Jay Johnson, Van Horn, Corbin, even Butch. Butch is a little more reserved, but he's got Amory, Mississippi Pitbull in him. All right,
Every bit of it.
I mean, good Lord, he's built like a concrete structure, right? I mean, that guy's got the chest of a bear, a lion.
Been lifting bays of hell.
Oh, he can lift hay bales
left and right
with one hand.
Oh yeah. Wait, did you come
while
up with
he's on the phone recruiting?
Did you come up with another name for Alpha?
Throat cutter.
Throat cutter.
People like it. So
I remember that. I like that.
You got to hire an assassin / throat cutter to. Now MSU is notorious for being insanely conservative on their hires. Sully may have a little bit of baggage, but you shouldn't think twice about it. Now, Ole Miss doesn't care about baggage. MSU will make up a reason why not to hire somebody like DJ Durkin or Bobby Petrino, which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. And I hear some dumb things in sports, as y'all do, or anything, I guess, in life. We're live in the Bank Plus studio. We're rolling, kicking and screaming, going into last weekend of SEC play. Yeah, I'm reading this article from virginia.edu, news.virginia.edu. It's a good article, good piece. Written February 16th, 2023. It's UVA Today. How about that? That's easier for how Brian O'Connor's late father continues to shape the life of UVA's baseball coach. It's a wonderful piece on his dad and Brian O'Connor, his dad, John, and Brian O'Connor, the UVA coach, and their amazing relationship. And, O'Connor's been there for like 22 years. And here's the part of the, I mean, it's a good story, but the last part of the article hits home for me. And it says, Brian's allegiance to his daughters, Ellie, 22, which means now she's 24, Maggie, 20, now 22, and a third-year student at UVA, which I would assume she's finished now because I'm referencing a 2023, work with me, article. And his son, Dylan, who's 16, is noticed by Sydney, his wife of 27 years and former high school sweetheart. She says when he's with the kids, he's so present. And I think that's tied to his loyalty to me and being a father and all that. If any of those, so I just went over, I'm trying to run the numbers here. If that was 2023, that means Ellie's 24, Maggie's 22, and Dylan's 18. So Dylan's either a senior in high school or a freshman at wherever. If anybody is trending towards marriage or having a kid and lives in the area, I think that's off the table. If not, if for some reason no one's close to marriage or not married, and Dylan's not part of the, and I don't know, I guess I should have, maybe Jackson can. I don't even know if he's a baseball player, if he's tied in with the team, whatever. Then maybe there's a shot to lift Brian O'Connor from UVA at $2 million a year. However, I find this hard to believe after reading this article, but I could be wrong. And you want to ask Link Jarrett and Brian O'Connor. You even want to hire Tony. You even want to ask Tony Vitello. But when you go into Tony, you can't mess around. No. You just need to go look. It's $2 million. If you want to coach in front of 15,000 rabid fans, if you want all the resources in the world and the most rabid fan base, the best atmosphere and the coolest stadium and a place that lives and breathes it, you'll never be number one in Knoxville. You'll never be number two, and you'll never be number three. One is Tennessee football. Two and 2A is men and women's hoops in Tennessee, and you'll always be number four. In Starkville, you'll be number one or number 1A with if football's winning, it trumps anybody on any campus pretty much, maybe outside of Kentucky. But if you want to be the man, here's $2 million, bam. And Tony's single and 40-something years old, and if he doesn't feel like the nightlife is quite where it needs to be in Starkville, you throw in another 40 or 50 plane hours into the contract, and he can be at Surfing Deer in 40 minutes or Atlanta in 40 minutes. Well, actually, you can take a direct flight if you don't want to take travel. That's one thing you got. Golden Triangle Airport is 12 minutes from Duty Noble Field. You can fly direct to Atlanta, which is a 40-minute flight. These are things that need to be sold by both athletics and academics. You got 2 flights a day, 12 minutes from campus. Not all SEC schools can say that. And you just added a direct flight from Dallas. That's 3 flights a day. You can get to Atlanta in 40 minutes. You can get to Dallas in an hour and 10 direct. That's not a bad deal. You can be at Nick and Sam's in Dallas in 1 hour eating dinner from Starkville. You can be at Canoe in Atlanta in an hour eating dinner. And plus all your money that you're making at $2 million a year. But after the A-list, all you got to do is find one on the A-list that says yes. But if all of them say no, then you go to your A- list, which is still strong with guys like Fitzgerald at Kansas, Bloomquist at Arizona State, Pollard at Duke, Walter at Wake. You know, maybe a Big Ten coach that you like that's winning somewhere where they don't care and it's cold and he's never going to get players. Right. One thing that we've talked about at Mississippi State, you trip over players. You had 11 MLB draft picks last year coming off back-to-back losing seasons. You had 11 MLB draft picks coming off back-to-back losing seasons. Unless you're totally incompetent and lazy, you will have plenty of talent at MSU. The question is, can you make the guys that touch foot on campus, can you elevate their game? They've all played 1 million hours of travel ball, and they're really good. And then high school or whatever, or portal. I mean, even if you pick up the guy from Sam Houston State who hit 395, and you're going to get him for 1 year. In the 6 months leading up into his final season, he'll get there in July. You play in late February. Do you have a staff that can make him better? That's what you're looking to do. If you get a pitcher from East Carolina, can you make him better? And if you go get the ace off of Georgia Southern's team, can you make him better? You've got to find a developer. He's got to be a throat cutter, assassin, developer. That's it. This league is nasty. It is a jungle. You think football is? Actually, football's taking a dip if you want to look at across the board. And, obviously Saban stepped. We've had things happen. Y'all know that. But it's the way that I would describe SEC baseball, Jackson, is a jungle full of lines. And we know who they are. O'Sullivan at Florida. Jay Johnson at LSU. Schlossnagle at Texas. Van Horn at Arkansas. He may be the biggest assassin. And Tony Vitello at Tennessee. And Tim Corbin at Vanderbilt. And even Butch Thompson, who could wrestle a grizzly bear while drinking an ice-cold Budweiser and eating a pork belly sandwich. Pulled pork. Belly, whatever. You need a throat cutter.
O'Connor says he's not interested in the job.
Yeah, I saw that.
You buy that?
I think coaches say things when the media point blank asks them. He's not going to say, especially now that they're winning. They were struggling and they've all of a sudden started winning.
That's right.
He's not. I mean, he believes they can win. Any coach worth at that level is thinking about what they can do in the postseason. Right. I mean, hell, Justin Parker's sitting there. He and Gotro aren't. They know they have talent. They're sitting here thinking, if we can get in,
we can make hay.
We can win some games. People who believe in themselves, have confidence, ambitious, believe that if you give me a chance to get in the postseason, then you can make it. You can make it happen.
Get hot. Gotta get real hot.
Hey, don't let Hail State baseball get hot. They have proven time and time again that they will make postseason runs. Good morning. Welcome in. The Out of Bounds Show is driven by Hartley Equipment. And your next zero-turn lawnmower, Skag, X-Mark, Bad Boy. Powered by Hartley Equipment in Gluckstadt and their new dealership location on Church Road. Hartley Equipment, baby, for your next lawnmower. Yeah. The obsession with Brian O'Connor's pretty serious. UVA head baseball coach. I mean, on paper, he's a good hire. I mean, does he come down here with the urine and vinegar? Then, yeah, I can't answer that question, but yeah, he's a good hire. I'm receiving text on Buck Showalter. Those rumors have been out there, and had a guy at the Starkville Derby walk up to me, and he said, "Well, what do you think about Buck Showalter?" Buck's for our listeners, who knows what Buck Showalter wants to do, but for our listeners, Buck Showalter played college baseball at Mississippi State. He's an MSU alum. He played for Ron Polk. He was drafted by the Yankees. He eventually became the Yankees manager. He's
coached every team.
He came close to being in kind of like legendary space because he was part of the ride to get them up and going.
Right.
And he and George Steinbrenner, I think, like George did with so many, tied up. And even though they were winning, they went their separate ways. And Torrey walked into a ready-made squad the next year, and they won their first of several. Buck would go on to start the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Right.
He's been with the Orioles and the Mets, and I'm sure I'm missing some other. He's been on ESPN. He's made a ton of money. He's a brilliant baseball mind. I have no idea if Buck Showalter is interested in the job, but I do see your text messages on the Dancing Rabbit Golf text line. He is one of the bigger names. Raffy and Will always kind of, be the guys, but Showalter, because of his MLB, and he's been when he took a couple of years off, he spent a good bit of time in Starkville. We had him on the show, saw him at the ballpark, and again he did some broadcasting, and he loves MSU and loves MSU baseball. But you've got your A list, the guys we talk about. Then you've got your next list. I don't think it's going to be an assistant unless Parker,
rails it off.
Yeah.
Because he'd have to smash the rest of the year to get there.
And I don't blame Justin Parker for one. I don't blame anyone for whatever they want to do. I mean, if Brian O'Connor wants to stay in Charlottesville, Virginia, okay, I get it. If he wants to test the waters, make a run somewhere else, great. Does he believe that Virginia is going to really support him? I have no idea. In this new portal age, I mean, is Virginia really going to give him $2 million? I mean, MSU will give him much more than this, but are they really going to give him $2 million to play with in the portal? So we'll see. I doubt it.
No. They have the money, though. They got plenty of money, right?
UVA?
Yeah. Ample.
They could give him $25 million.
Really? So it's like, yeah, they're private, right?
They are?
They are private, okay.
And, well, hold on.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think so. That's a good question.
Pretty sure.
Are they like Florida and they're one of the top 10 public universities, or are they private? I don't know. Pollard is at a private institution in Duke, and they're able to supplement through different things.
Oh, it's public.
What you got?
It's public.
Yeah. All right. So they're one of the top 5 to 10 public schools in the country,
Easily,
along with the
right,
Florida
yeah.
Gators and so on. Yeah. University of Texas, Austin. And so on. And that makes sense. So, but they may as well be private as far as the way they operate.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't mean, I mean, if they're public, they can get federal and state, but that's all great. But my point in that is they're prestigious academically and considered just a tier below, or maybe some people put them on the same.
Ivy?
Yeah.
No way. Well, no, they do have.
I mean, I don't think there's, dude. I don't think there's any difference in Florida, especially they're really, really strong disciplines
Right.
and majors and curriculum, but I don't think there's a difference in University of Florida and UVA, those 2 degrees compared to Dartmouth or Brown.
Wow.
No.
Really?
Yeah. Why would I think that? Everybody's got an iPhone, software, Google, Chat GPT, and YouTube now.
It's
I
still
mean-
a little different.
Huh?
It's still a little different.
Oh, I disagree. Now, Florida is top 5. I guess Virginia maybe too. But
They have to be. Yeah.
no, I don't think there's any difference in like whether or not you're going to be successful multimillionaire.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Going to Florida or Dartmouth.
Sure. That's fair.
Yeah, if you've got like a, I don't know, an
Yeah,
international
I mean-
business degree from Florida compared to an international business degree from Dartmouth.
Yeah, the Dartmouth guy's gonna get the nod.
I disagree this day and age. 30 years ago, I agree.
Okay.
Because people can create wealth anywhere now.
Well, that's a fact.
Used to, it was just a different deal. But software and technology broke down the barriers everywhere. From whether you're in, rural South America, you can build a $500 million, $3 billion company or anywhere else.
Yep.
So no, there's no difference in getting a big time degree from Florida or a big time degree from Brown. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's fair.
I mean, one of those. I mean, yeah, those top public schools. Now you enter the 20 and below public schools. There's a big difference.
Well, I mean, I think there's a little bit different in like Montana Tech.
Yeah,
But-
right.
Still, you can get where you want. You still have access to everything in the world in the palm of your hand.
That's right.
Yeah.
For better or worse. Better, right? Has a phone made your life better? I don't know.
Absolutely.
Has it?
Yeah.
Why? How's it just that staple of an answer? How do you?
I think it's easy to one, communicate,
Yeah. Okay.
which is, that's like
way of life.
that's the game changer.
yeah.
You don't have to pull over and
You didn't
go to a
communicate prior?
landline
Okay.
and you can send information in seconds instead of it taking hours or days.
Yeah. Okay. I can see the argument. I mean, I'm with you. I agree. I think there is an argument to be made on the other side.
I don't doubt that there is, just like everything.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. So where were we going with that?
Well, Wes Johnson fitting in on your list.
Wes Johnson's not leaving.
Is he not getting asked, or is he not leaving?
Um.
Not getting asked.
Oh yeah. You take him. He spent 1 year in Starkville and lived in a hotel. He never moved there.
Really?
And
Odd.
no, that happens with assistant coaches throughout the country all the time. Those that are bouncing around, they're not always going to. You hear about assistants within the SEC all the time that go somewhere and they go and get a townhouse or an apartment or a hotel and don't move until they know it's going to be, another year or two, or if they bounce, there's no ties.
Right. And he was bouncing at that time.
Yeah, well, he went from MSU to Arkansas to the Twins to LSU.
All within 6 years, yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Moving.
Did I miss one? MSU,
No,
Arkansas,
that's right.
Twins, LSU, Georgia?
That's correct. Before that, DBU. Dallas Baptist.
Oh, he was with Hefner
Hefner.
at DBU.
Sure was.
And then went to Mississippi State?
That's correct. DBU's got a
Cohen hired him.
Yeah, 16. Why in the world would you leave Athens?
Well, there's no pressure. And they don't care if you win. You can stay there for, of course, he may win it. He's number one in the RPI right now. They won one in 1990. And then, they've been to some College World Series. They were overrated last year, and we said that. And then they got bounced. But yeah, 700 people show up at their games.
It's the best.
It's cute and sweet and fun. But Atlanta's in your backyard. Georgia, another
Yeah.
unbelievable public university academically. Athens and Atlanta basically grown into each other. It wasn't but like 55-minute drive years ago. Now, I mean, Athens is basically a suburb.
Who's the best baseball player to ever come out of Georgia?
Lilliquist and somebody else was their stars in 90. I'm sure they've had like some big time first round picks that I can't remember.
Looking.
At some point in time. You know, Scott Strickland was there for a while. I don't mean the one that's the Florida AD. Scott Strickland was their baseball coach until Wes Johnson took his place. They just kind of let Scott Strickland kind of meander. I mean, he didn't. Again, it's all football. It's all Kirby Smart. It's all football. They don't care about men's basketball, and they don't care. That's why it's perfect for Michael White, who's their basketball coach, and they don't care. Now, Polk went there for like 3 years, and he stepped down from Mississippi State, hung out a year or two, went to Georgia, led them to the College World Series, and then when McMahon went to Florida, Polk went to Mississippi State. I don't remember how long Scott Strickland, again, the baseball coach, was there, but I think it was a little bit of a chunk, like a decade. He wasn't terrible, but he wasn't good. Nobody cared.
14 to 23.
Okay.
Yeah, a win percentage of 557, 299, and 236.
So that's average.
Yeah, I mean, it's
solid.
Man.
I don't even know if that's
I
solid.
wouldn't
Maybe
call
it
it
is
solid.
solid
No.
for Georgia standards.
Uh-uh.
And all it took was a machine, and boom, he's in.
They don't have anybody. There is no baseball player that hang their hat on.
Are you sure?
Outside of Charlie Condon, or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Last year, but other than that, I mean, I don't know where you go. And Lilliquist is the best player they've ever had. I mean, I'm kind of shocked at that, to be honest with you. I figured they'd have at least one bell cow, right? Yeah, there's none of them. Gordon Beckham was a good second baseman.
Yeah,
shortstop.
I remember
mean,
him.
He was good, but I mean, that's not a bell cow. I don't think it may be over there. I don't know. No way.
I would have thought they had a pitcher that was incredible.
Same.
Just because, again, they're in the area code of just landing players. Hey, what do you think about? Let's switch gears. What do you think about this story? I read it in The Athletic this morning. And we are the Out of Bounds Show, 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. And we're brought to you by mssmarthomes.com. Football season will actually be here before you know it. If you want the Sonos surround sound system for your TV watching room, living room, kitchen, man room, which we've got the Sonos surround sound system from mssmarthomes.com, call Jake Manning today. Jake Manning today. mssmarthomes.com for movies, for music, and sports. The Sonos surround sound system from mssmarthomes.com, Mississippi Smart Homes. They just opened a brand new office behind Kralaka's in Ridgeland, and it is super, super nice showroom floor. Mississippi Smart Homes, mssmarthomes.com. And it's also right behind Went McGee's office, mortgagemanms.com. He'll shop the best rates for you in the state of Mississippi from DeSoto County to Gulfport. Went McGee, the mortgage man, mssmarthomes.com. What about ESPN talking about buying NFL media? What do you think about that? Rich Eisen going back to ESPN. ESPN looking at buying NFL media, which would be the NFL Network and the NFL Red Zone.
Wow. Power play. It's kind of tight. I like Eisen coming back. I like Rich. I like him. He was one of the first guys I guess I grew up with. Yeah. Him, Kornheiser, Will
Well,
Vaughn.
he was at ESPN from 96 to 2003. He and Stu Scott
Yeah.
and others were stars then. It had been basically Dan Patrick and Keith Olbermann had kind of handed it over to Rich Eisen and Stu Scott and that whole group. Eisen was the first hire from the NFL Network. People thought he was crazy. And then it turned into a great move for Eisen. Plus, he wanted to move back to the West Coast. If ESPN purchases NFL media, which includes the Red Zone, which includes the NFL Network, and evidently they want to buy the Rich Eisen show too. I don't know where they're going to drop that, but they'll figure it out. They've got plenty of platforms. He and McAfee are on at the same time, but again, they have 19 platforms streaming and everything else. And both shows are very popular. Eisen's done a good job. They're different, but they do mess around. He doesn't mess around to the level of McAfee, but they're really good. And Eisen's been running that show forever. And of course, you see him on Sundays on the NFL Network. He does the draft. He's even picked off some. You know how the NFL Network has some games later in the year that they actually broadcast? He's done some of those too. You saw Peter Schrager went ahead and left the NFL Network, and he is with ESPN. Schrags is one of the best when it comes to covering the NFL and having fun with it.
Yeah.
What would they do with Good Morning Football? Again, they have so many platforms that they can work with. And I think they can make Good Morning Football really, really good. They can take the Rich Eisen show to another level. They're going to offer a direct to consumer subscription coming up, and so Disney/ESPN's got all these platforms, channels, and streaming services. Are they going to get this thing done? It looked like they were going to get it done two months ago. It went away, and now, boom, last week, it's back on the table, and it looks like they're inside the 1 yard line.
Yeah, 2 months ago would have been a different deal. 2 months ago may have included Colin Cowherd as they were trying to poach him.
Well, they called Cowherd, and he said no, he was going to stay with Fox, and I get that.
Podcast deal he's got.
And he's doing the volume, the podcast, and I think he just...
And he's made plenty of money.
Yeah. But for Eisen, I think Eisen's like, this sounds good. What all are we going to do? They already landed Joe Buck and Aikman and made Monday Night Football a million times better by rolling out that broadcast. And they were able to mend fences with Goodell and the front office of corporate NFL offices in New York. And you could see that right along the same time that they hired Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. The previous president and the NFL did not, John Skipper and them did not, see eye to eye. And y'all know the stretch where ESPN just couldn't get it together on Monday Night Football, and the NFL wouldn't really give them good games. Right. Now that's different with Aikman and Buck. They've had much better games.
Is this are we seeing?
Now the Red Zone is the money shot too. Don't forget about how popular that is and what ESPN may do with that. I mean, it's very simple and it's good, but they may do some other things with it. The Red Zone is, listening to SI Media podcast yesterday, the Red Zone is like the bread and butter because so many people are able, you've got access to the games, which means ESPN's like, holy smokes, you'll let us go to any game, anytime throughout the day. Think about that. What's that worth? What's that worth for the NFL? Have they monetized it? Yes, but have they monetized it to the level that they could? Now with ESPN platforms, holy smokes. What does that look like?
Are they about to make this a YouTube model type deal where they just own it all and license all the IPs and just scatter it?
I think so. And I think by already getting McAfee on board and Buck and Aikman, now they're now bringing in Peter Schrager and eventually Rich Eisen, if this whole thing gets done, will be, and the Reds. Now, what's his name? Scott Hansen? Is he still going to be the host of the Red Zone, or do they put some
face
bigger name?
Yeah,
he's done a good job, and I give him credit. And y'all know I watch I'll watch one game on a Sunday if it's really good, but for me, especially after a day of college football, the Red Zone's perfect.
Yeah, no, I don't need Scott Hansen up there. Maybe somebody else.
You don't like him?
Nah.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah, too proper.
Too proper.
Yeah, looks like he's like cut out of a magazine or something. It's a compliment. It's a backhanded compliment, but it's a compliment.
It was a little bit of a backhanded compliment by you.
I mean, he does. It
But-
looks like he's straight out of a magazine.
Love the red zone. We'll see about what Rich Eisen would do with ESPN.
His first show back would do numbers, though. Like, I mean, that'd do exponential numbers.
And he'd be the lead dog on their Sunday morning show on
Yes.
ESPN.
Yeah, for sure.
Who would that take out? Greenberg? Did they drop Greenberg on Sunday mornings? I mean, we have 14 shows leading up
Right.
to the NFL and the noon kickoff here, 1 o'clock their time, but I think it is Greenberg. So I guess Eisen would replace Greenberg.
So he'd be with Brewski, Ryan, Randy Moss.
Yeah, you got to replace Ryan. Randy Moss and Brewski you can handle. Although they
Ryan.
could even upgrade there. But
Yeah.
and what does that do for Michael Irvin? What does it do for who else is up there with Rich on Sundays? It's Michael Irvin, Rich Eisen, and I can't remember. At one point it was Marshall Falk, and who's the little dude that played at Carolina? Steven,
Smith,
I think so.
wide receiver.
I think,
Yeah, they got all
but
that
I don't
trouble
know who
with
like the core group is because and Jimmy Johnson's stepping down.
Yeah.
So, and I thought he was unbelievable. Now they have too many people up there, but he and Strahan are awesome on Fox. But after making that 20-something year run, Jimmy Johnson's out. He got to make the decision.
Yeah.
So
Who is that? I mean, it's him, Terry, Howie.
Terry
Strahan.
needs to
Hang it up.
needs to hang it up.
Hang it up.
Howie's still pretty damn good. Strahan's
I like
phenomenal.
him. Yeah, he is.
Jimmy Johnson was awesome. Probably, but again, too many guys on the set to to talk.
But they had Julian Edelman and looking to have Michael Vick as analyst this year.
Okay. Well, those are entertaining guys.
Yeah.
For sure. All right. Thanks for listening to the show. We're live in the Bank Plus studio. We are the Out of Bounds Show, 105.9 The Zone ESPN. If you want a Sonos surround sound system for your house to elevate your movie watching and your music when you're playing Spotify and any sporting event, I highly recommend the Sonos surround sound system from mssmarthomes.com. And, we're also excited to welcome in Mills Contracting. Call them for your next construction project. Mills Contracting in Gluckstadt, Madison County.